Well, he had some comments about black people and how we need to deal with racism. I just roll it.
So I don't think you can change that part of human nature. What you can do is you can make kids resilient against it. And the way you do that is by giving them a great education so that they know that they have potential. And the other thing is to give them business models, role models, and opportunities within their own neighborhood. You know, black men who are running barbershops, who are running bars, who are running dance studios, who are running local businesses, restaurants, etc., and who are part of that community. And you know, when I was a kid, my uncle was the first Irish Catholic president of our country, and when he ran for president, there was a tremendous resurgence in anti-Catholic sentiment in this country, and a resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan. I remember crosses being burned when I was a kid against an anti-Catholic president. A lot of other, I was called a Mick, a mackerel snatcher, all these anti-Catholic slurs when I was a kid. But it never bothered me. If somebody called me that, I would think that guy's got a problem. But I didn't think I have a problem. And that because I had a great education, I had a family who loved me, I had role models in my country, I had confidence in my own future. Oh, you know, those kind of things had no impact on me. And that's the kind of resilience that we want to give the black American children so that they have so much confidence in their own future that when they do encounter the inevitable racism, that it will bounce off them, that they'll be, you know, like the Avengers, they'll be immune to it. And then we don't have to stop racism altogether, because we're never going to be able to do that, but we can have children that are not affected by it, that don't internalize it, that don't see it as their problem. They see it as the person whose race is problem.
I'm gonna have to take a walk. I'm
Yeah, this is like an exhale moment.
A lot of deep breaths.
Yeah, we supposed to let.
Play that. Play that one more time.
So I don't think you can change that part of human nature. What you can do is you can make kids resilient against it. And the way you do that is by giving them a great education so that they know that they have potential. And the other thing is to give them business models, role models, and opportunities within their own neighborhood. You know, black men who are running barbershops, who are running bars, who are running dance studios, who are running local businesses, restaurants, etc., and who are part of that community. And you know, when I was a kid, my uncle was the first Irish Catholic president of our country, and when he ran for president, there was a tremendous resurgence in anti-Catholic sentiment in this country, and a resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan. I remember crosses being burned when I was a kid against an anti-Catholic president. A lot of other, I was called a Mick, a mackerel snatcher, all these anti-Catholic slurs when I was a kid. But it never bothered me. If somebody called me that, I would think that guy's got a problem. But I didn't think I have a problem. And that because I had a great education, I had a family who loved me, I had role models in my country, I had confidence in my own future. Oh, you know, those kind of things had no impact on me. And that's the kind of resilience that we want to give the black American children so that they have so much confidence in their own future that when they do encounter the inevitable racism, that it will bounce off them, that they'll be, you know, like the Avengers, they'll be immune to it. And then we don't have to stop racism altogether, because we're never going to be able to do that, but we can have children that are not affected by it, that don't internalize it, that don't see it as their problem. They see it as the person whose race is problem.
So he talked about his uncle becoming the first Catholic president. Go to my iPad. Robert Kennedy's grandfather was Ambassador Joseph P. Kennedy Sr. Read this. By 1935, Joseph P. Kennedy had his wealth increased to 100. This is by 1935. His wealth had increased to $180 million, equivalent to $4 billion in 2023. He also acquired enough capital to establish million-dollar trust funds for each of his 9 children that guaranteed lifelong financial independence. That's one story. Here is, this is from history.com. And it talked about how Joseph Kennedy amassed his wealth. First of all, he was a bootlegger with the mafia, had his money in other things. Dog, you just walked right past the camera. I got you. So go ahead. All right, I'm just going through here, y'all. Look at this right here. Kennedy sold his liquor franchise a decade later. He walked away with $8.2 million, more than $100 million in today's dollars. All right, let me just keep going on here. I'm just going on while I'm sitting here looking at how he made his money. So that's how Kennedy made his money. Do y'all know what this is? This right here, y'all, is the Kennedy compound in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. This is the compound. This is where the Kennedy family traveled. This is where they played football. Y'all know there were no crosses being burned at the Kennedy family compound. None of those things were actually happening there. You do know how rich they were. Then when JFK is killed on November 22nd, 1963, his brother Robert F. Kennedy then becomes the leader of the family because the dad had a stroke. See, the thing was passed down. So it was Ambassador Kennedy, eldest son had gotten killed, had died before. Then it was JFK. Then it was RFK. And then after RFK was killed in June 1968, Teddy, the youngest boy, y'all do realize the girls couldn't control the family wealth. Mm-hmm. It went down to Ted. And then for Ted, it was Ted and it was the grandsons. That's how the wealth was controlled. And so here you got this white man who took heroin in college, standing before a group of black people, telling them that, oh, we should just raise them to be like the Avengers. Just shake the racism off. Just that they need to be able to just, be resilient. You can't show me a Kennedy who could have withstood the racism and the bigotry that any regular, ordinary black person had to endure and still survived. Show me the litany of black people who were maids, janitors, who washed and cooked white folks' houses and children, yet were able to send their kids to college to have a life. There is no white man in America who should ever tell anybody black what resilience looks like. You can't show me. You cannot stand before me. And every black person, put the video up and show them. Every black person who was sitting there listening to Robert F. Kennedy, if they didn't cuss his monkey ass out, shame on all they sorry asses. Because there's no way I would be silent and have some white man or white woman tell me that the way we need to be able to raise black kids is to have mentors and role models, and if they could be just, to be resilient, they can just shake off the haters, shake off the racism, and like be Avengers. Really? Robert Kennedy Jr. could walk into a bank and he doesn't need to have a business plan. In fact, Robert Kennedy Jr. doesn't even have to walk into a bank. His family can self-fund it. Robert Kennedy Jr. can run around with his anti-vaccine conspiracies and travel the country with all of his nonsense because he's the beneficiary of a trust fund that was paid for by his bootlegging grandfather. And so we are supposed to sit here and accept that kind of bullshit?
Woo.
We're supposed to sit here and tolerate this ignoramus trying to tell black people, folk who are the descendants of people of African descent, who were kidnapped and taken from Senegal, from Ghana, from Sierra Leone, and other African nations, and transported across the Atlantic and dropped off in Brazil, in Jamaica, in Haiti, in the Dominican Republic, all across the Caribbean before arriving here. The millions that died in the transport, and then those that came here and were savagely beaten and treated and shamed and degraded. Black women who had babies cut out of their womb. Black men who had their penises cut off. Do we need to describe what white folks did in America to the body of Nat Turner, where his entire body was mutilated and held up like a trophy? Do we need to talk about 300 black people dying in Tulsa in 1921? Do we need to talk about the Red Summer of 1919? Do we need to talk about the savage brutality in Wilmington, North Carolina? Should we talk about the constant bombings and beatings and lynchings that took place? Should we talk about the group of black soldiers who killed white folks in Houston for how they were being treated? We can go on and on and on and on and talk about Rosewood. We can go all across this country. And this son of a bitch has the audacity, the unmitigated gall to sit in front of a group of black people and explain to them how in the hell we should equip our boys and girls to be resilient. Real simple, Robert F. Kennedy, fuck you.
Woo.
How dare you stand there and say that to black people? Because there's no more resilient group of people in this country than people of African descent. No group in the history of the United States has been degraded, maligned, beaten, killed, torn asunder, abused mentally, abused physically, abused spiritually. Our men, our women, education, economics, health, yet we are still here. Mm-hmm. Yet we are still standing. And you somehow want to stand there in all your whiteness, in all of your privilege, in all of your riches, to tell black people how we need to put an armor on our kids in order for them to be resilient. See, the problem, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is not black folk being called nigger. The problem is not black boys and girls being called coons. The problem, Robert F. Kennedy, is not black boys and girls being called porch monkeys, lawn jockeys. The problem is when they smile in our face and say loan denied. The problem is even in 2024, when you black, you have to take down the black paintings and the books and the family portraits from your walls and your shelves, and remove your DVDs and remove anything that has a semblance of blackness so you can get the right appraisal for your home. Mm-hmm. See, what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. don't understand. See, when you are white in America, you can go into a hospital and get treated, but you can be Serena Williams and a black woman, and they question your pain. And you have to yell, holler, and scream to be treated while you were having a baby, and you could have almost lost that child. See, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., see, he don't know what it means to be a black CEO. And you walk into a room, and the white folks mistake you as the staffer or as the assistant and not the CEO. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. don't know what it means when you're a black woman who is Angela Alsobrook, who goes to the U.S. Capitol. And the first thing the Capitol Police assume is that she's a staffer. And then when told I'm not a staffer, they said, are you the spouse of a member of Congress? And she says, no, I'm the duly elected United States Senator from Maryland. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has no idea the reality of what black folk have to contend with on a daily basis. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has no idea. Even if you have all of the degrees. See, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talk about all that resilience and that Avengers. I don't let nobody white mistreat me. I don't let anybody, black or white, talk to me any way they want to. But don't you think for a second, when I'm having to sit here and I'm talking to Group M, and I'm talking to Publicis, and I'm talking to Horizon, and I'm talking to IMG, I'm talking to all of these ad agencies, and then they decide, no, we're not gonna buy black. And they don't say we're not gonna buy black. They just don't buy black. When I'm dealing with political campaigns, when you look at the top 5 firms, ad agencies, and how much money they made, more than $600 million was funneled into those firms. And the top one was $280 million. Do y'all know what the top amount of money that went through a black ad agency in the Harris for President campaign? It was $28 million. Top white firm was $280 million, 10 times more. See, I can go on and on and on. See, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has no idea that you can be black and well educated and you can be armed with the Spirit of God on you. That's Ephesians, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You can talk about that coat of armor, that spiritual coat. You can have all of that, and you still are going to deal with the indignities of race. Remember when Oprah Winfrey was over there in Paris and tried to go into that jewelry store and they wouldn't hit the buzzer? You want to show me or tell me when John H. Johnson Publishing Company, got stopped by the cops of Chicago for driving his Rolls Royce? How do we know about racial profiling, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? Oh, poor black people had been stopped by the cops for a long time. But it was middle class and upper middle class black people driving their Jaguars and Mercedes and BMWs on the New Jersey Turnpike who went public and told people about the reality of driving while black. But we're supposed to sit here and take lessons from somebody who needed heroin to study in school. We're supposed to sit here and just be quiet and meek and say, yes, boss. Yeah, boss, please tell us how us good black people, how we need to act and behave in order to go forward. Please, boss, can you tell us how we need to equip our youngins for them to be able to survive in America? Oh, by all means, boss, can you please just give us a little of your wisdom? Because we really don't know. We black folk, we don't know what it means to be resilient. And I'm so glad that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. came by these parts to educate us black folk on how we need to equip our kids to be resilient. So y'all, let's all just together, just give Robert F. Kennedy Jr. a round of applause for being such a gracious white man to show us the white print on how to raise resilient black youngins. Future generations will look on this day and say, praise the Lord, that God done sent Robert F. Kennedy Jr. our way to avoid vaccine shots, sent him our way to tell our black kids, if you want to go to the highest of your graduating class, take some heroin and things will be well in school. We're going to look on this day 50 to 100 years later, and we're going to say in the year 2124, how is it that black people just started soaring in America? And we're going to be able to say it was because of that wonderful white man, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who came by to give us a little talk and to show us peons, black folk, how to get ahead in America. Thank you, boss Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I sure appreciate it. Do you want to put your feet now on my stomach in order for you to heal your sickness and to fix the brain worm in your head? Let me just go call my nieces and my nephews and bring them along, boss, so they can lay on the floor and make you feel at home. Get the fuck out of here.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free to download, free to use, next generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.